which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very...
Iran says its attacks are over.
I remember thinking at the time that I didn't believe that Iran's attacks would really be over. Iran had spent years promising that anyone who attacks them would live to regret it.
The malicious regime has made a wrong move in this case. It should be punished, and it will be punished.
At the time, Iran was backing a vast network of terrorist groups, the Houthis, Hamas and Hezbollah, and claimed to have significant cyber war capabilities. Surely one of those groups would retaliate and make Trump pay. Well, they definitely tried. We now know that the Revolutionary Guards attempted several times to hire people to assassinate Trump, John Bolton, a US ambassador, and then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. But none of those attacks came to pass because they were all foiled at the planning stage. So what did Trump learn from this? He ordered the killing of the second most powerful man in Iran, and the ramifications were virtually nothing. No quagmire, no American boots on the ground, no flag-draped coffins. These aren't endless wars in his book. They start when he wants them to, they end when he wants them to. In fact, every conflict he waded into in his first term, from his perspective, seemed to turn out fine. North Korea turned out fine.
Everything red is ISIS?
Syria? Well, we'll call that a draw. And Yemen, where even is that?
Stupid foreign wars in countries that you've never heard of.
So let's shuttle through to Trump's second term.
On approach to the targets of Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan, the bombers link up with fighter jet escorts. Then it begins.
US President Donald Trump says America has struck Iranian nuclear facilities.
The heavily fortified Fordo facility is hit first at 2:10 a.m. local time. The entire engagement over in 25 minutes.
The US bombing of Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities in June 2025 followed more than a week of missile and drone attacks between Israel and Iran.
The US and Israel believe they have Iran's regime on the run.
Iran appeared on the back foot, with many of its allies severely weakened or eliminated entirely by Israeli attacks.
Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah dead, the Assad regime in Syria toppled, Hamas degraded in Gaza, and signs Israel is set on nothing less than regime change in Tehran.
Israel had taken out dozens of Iranian leaders and their allies, and every time Iran vowed revenge.
We consider martyrdom a great blessing, but right now we are fighting for victory.
You hit us, we'll hit you back, again and again, until you understand. This is Iran, the land of lions.
But every time, the revenge was fairly limited. Israeli casualties in the dozens, not the hundreds, and American casualties were virtually non-existent.
The US says none of its personnel were killed or injured.
President Trump now has to decide whether the US escalates its attacks, turning this into another prolonged war in the Middle East, which would be a broken promise to keep the US out of so-called forever wars.
Trump had learned a lesson through the killing of Soleimani, that wars with Iran could be ended when he wanted. So once again, Trump decided to end the cycle of escalation.
Donald Trump let the world know he considered the matter done.
He posted online that Iran and Israel had agreed to a ceasefire.
I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal.
Trump got in, met his objectives, and he got out and declared the game was over. Bippity-boppity-boo. But Iran and Israel were still kind of at bippity.
Just hours into the US president's imposed ceasefire, air raid sirens ring out.
They weren't done just yet.
On Israeli military claims it had detected an Iranian missile bound for the north. Orders for the IDF to respond forcefully quickly follow.
So Trump got involved in something, he declared it over, and yet it kept going. He decided to deal with it like the highly skilled negotiator and statesman he is, by hitting the caps lock key.
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
After a number of very angry social media posts from Trump, Iran and Israel stopped fighting.
They're not going to be fighting each other. They've had it. They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easier to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes do strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word.
The guy referring to Trump as Daddy is the head of NATO, who had been sending the president a series of fawning text messages.
Dear Donald, congratulations. Thank you for your decisive action in Iran. That was truly extraordinary.
So, to recap, over the course of Trump's time in office so far, he seems to have discovered an on-off switch for war. War on, war off. It works like this. Trump turns the war switch on. There are a lot of explosions. Trump's very short-term goals are achieved. Trump decides he's had enough, and Trump turns the war switch off. He then gets weird praise from a Dutch guy. He figured out the US military could be deployed to devastating effect, seemingly with very little political cost.
He did not say there would be no more wars. He said there would be no more forever wars.
And these wars, the ones he started, all ended exactly when he told them to. It worked with Soleimani, it worked with the 12-Day War, and it worked in January with Venezuela. Let's see how that went. Turn the war switch on.
With a dramatic overnight operation in Venezuela's capital, raining down fire on the city in the early hours of the morning.
The US military flew in, snatched the Venezuelan president out of his bed, and flew out. War switch is off. Job is done.
This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence.
A big macho show of military force with very few political ramifications for Trump at all. Iran was, for him, the logical next step.
We're going to destroy their missiles. We're going to annihilate their navy.
Trump decided to turn on the war switch. And within hours, the top levels of the Iranian leadership had been decimated.
Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead.
He made it clear that the intention was to destroy the Ayatollah's regime.
I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country.
But unlike in their wars waged in Iraq and Afghanistan, the US would not be taking any role in building any new Iranian democracy.
America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help.
Trump expects this operation to take about a month, 4 to 5 weeks to be precise, and then he's out. Give us a call if you need anything.
We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
The question is, will there be a cost for him this time? Well, remember that jagged-edged body of water we started with?
It is only 24 miles wide. Few people even know where it is.
There was a reason I mentioned the Strait of Hormuz earlier. It's been the loaded gun sitting on the table the whole time. Chekhov's Strait.
An oil tanker burns in the Strait of Hormuz as Iran lashes out.
It's closing down oil shipping in the Strait of Hormuz.
It doesn't take much to close the strait. You only need to make going through it unsafe enough that insurance companies won't insure the oil and gas tankers going through. A few sea mines here and there, a couple of missile attacks.
If we get, $10, $20, $30 increase in the price of oil, petrol prices could potentially go up by 30 cents a litre.
And suddenly a war on the other side of the world can start to have an effect on everyone. Yeah, of 150 military casualties and 50 military casualties in a retaliation strike. Now funerals have been held for at least that many dead school children in the city of Minab.